Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's AI for Work training session. Today, we are going to explore the transformative power of generative AI and how it can revolutionize the way you and your teams work. So, who am I? My name is Alexie O'Brien. I am an AI for Work trainer as well as a business coach. I am a consultant for Simple AI, and I am a former finance and retail exec as a GM for Lululemon, Rip Curl, and Osmosis. So I definitely look at things from an operational lens and a business lens and KPIs. But I'm also a graduate of the AICD and a former chartered accountant. So always look at things from a lens of risk and governance as well, which is how I actually got into this work in the first place. So having said that, I'll share a little bit more about the journey on the way through. I was at an AICD conference a few weeks ago, and I had the pleasure of listening to a Dr. Aisha Khanna from Singapore. She is the CEO of Addo, a global artificial intelligence firm. And I really took away that the purpose of AI, and I believe this in my heart anyway, is to amplify human potential. And she spoke to us, it was a governance summit, absolutely about governance and data and risk and customer information. However, my biggest takeaway that she said is there is not a single business on the planet that should not be using generative AI to make our roles more productive and our businesses more innovative. So I think that was a really key point. What I am hearing out there in the market is that I know I need to get into this. I just don't know where to start, or I don't know what is possible. And we are going to cover off on how to get started today, as well as the white belt level introduction on what is possible in our basic tools and foundations. So at Simple Academy, we have 3 flagship training programs within the umbrella of AI for Work. We've got our AI Foundations, AI for Leaders, and AI for Executives. Our foundations training is really about getting started with AI and understanding how to use AI more productively. You can't lead an AI power or lead a strategy piece of work or lead teams using AI unless we understand it ourselves as leaders and executives. But this is about the team starting to get through how every part of their role can be made more enhanced and more efficient with AI. Our AI for Leaders program is about how do we manage and lead a team that then is using AI productively because work is changing. And finally, our AI for Executives program is how do we manage and lead a company that is now AI powered. So why AI? Before we get into all of that, let's just have a quick conversation about why AI, because things are moving so fast in the AI world. The first thing to understand is that employees want AI. There was a recent report out by Microsoft that shows 75% of global knowledge workers are using AI at work. Most surprisingly, the majority of these users only started using it within the last 6 months. So there is a shift happening that is unprecedented when it comes to technology adoption at work. The second one is that those people are starting to use AI, especially power users, and they're saying that it is helping them save time, which isn't surprising. 85% of them say it is helping them focus on their most important work. 84% says that it's helping them to be more creative. And 83% are saying it is actually helping them enjoy their work more. So people are using it, they want it, and it's helping. The third is that companies, maybe you could insert even your competition here, is they're hiring specifically for these skills. 66% of leaders are saying they wouldn't actually hire someone without AI skills. And 71% say they'd actually rather hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced candidate without them. So companies are on the lookout now for folks with that skill set, and it really will, I believe, change the way that our organizations are shaped in the future. And then finally, these numbers have gone from approximately 0 to 50% in the last 12 months alone. And this is with AI being as bad as it is ever going to be. So basically, these numbers are going to continue to go up. And we are right in the middle of this curve where AI is a tool that your employees want. It's making them more productive. And now is the best time to start to think about how do we equip them best. So why now, though? Why is now the exact right time to be doing this? Well, there's a few reasons. For the very first time, folks are figuring out not just how to play with this, but how they can actually get real work done with AI and get real work done better, faster, and cheaper. So right now I'm going to flip over and show you, demonstrate a marketing tool which has been built by an agency owner who's a member of our Simple community, where he's found that AI can now do almost the entire marketing flow much better than a marketing agency. So to do that, I'm going to flip over into my GPT. And I am going to share with you an outbound marketing sequence. So we're going to come out, our deliverable is a series of emails for our outbound agent for our business. I'm going to click on Let's Get Started here. And we are going to show you this tool in action. And these are the kind of tools that people in our community are delivering every single week. I am going to, pick up this example and just use this one for now in here, but you would put in, if I sell refrigerators to hotels, might be an example of what your niche and your product offering is. So we would put that in here. And again, this is the only context that we are giving it. So the first step is this agency is going to, I'm just going to tell it to proceed, is going to go and do an in-depth analysis of our psychological triggers of our customers, really putting them front and center. So it's taking them through the dreams that these customers have, their past failures, their fears, they're fearing financial risk, market relevance. Again, one sentence is all I put in. Suspicions that they might have, as well as some of the enemies that might be there. So I'm just going to assume for this demonstration that we're happy with that and we're ready to move on to the next step. So the brand story expert is another department in an agency, and they're going to create the customer hero's journey. So our customer target audience, the hero is the business coaches aiming to launch and scale a $1 million a year AI consultancy. They have a problem. They meet a guide, your company, who gives them a plan, who you create a call to action that helps them avoid failure and ends in success. We are then going to hand off to our team of copywriters who is going to use that core customer psychology and the hero's journey to actually, I'm just going to pop in here, we want this over a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it will understand what I mean by that. It is now going to start to draft the outbound email sequence marketing for the agency or for the consulting group that I had given the context to. Remember, this is just one sentence and we've already got all of this output in a couple of minutes. So you can see here we've got 3 emails. We are now going to flip that over to the creative director. So what we are learning as well is that with anything in ChatGPT or Copilot, if that is what you're using, is that you can actually ask it to critique its own work, and it is getting better and better. It gives you really good feedback and incorporates it back into the original document. So I highly recommend you try that out as well. Okay, so we are going to let this finish up here. But what we basically got as an output, and this is from our marketing agency owner, he said that they would previously charge customers upwards of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to do this kind of customer research work. I am going to get those final drafts done and back, and it's also taken a lot less time. I know as a GM outsourcing this, it would take a month of backwards and forwards just to get those first probably 1 to 2 steps done. And we already have, almost production level quality marketing outputs right here ready to go. And the final step that we are going to go through is wrapping this up to actually calculate an ROI on this process. So it has given us an itemized bill. So it took us all of 2 minutes so far. And it is showing us that we have actually probably saved ourselves about $10,000. So one of the things, I think that's all I needed to say and share with you today on that. So these are the kind of tools that we teach all of your teams how to do inside of their business. Just flipping back to my presentation now. So this is basically the workflow where we've gone from a client to a marketing agency, the account exec, the psych expert, the brand story, copywriter, creative director, copywriter to the account exec, with the ultimate deliverable back to the client. And we did that in all of a couple of minutes. So it's hard to believe that from the very beginning of this training, that is what's going to happen. And we have shown that everybody that goes through this training is capable and able to build these kind of tools. That's why we have them as belt levels. So we're progressing everybody through to get to that brown belt level, which is working with AI agents. So right now, what I'm going to do for today's session is give you a preview of the AI Foundations course. Before we start, I want to point out a couple of things. One, this is as much about psychology as it is about technology. And this is all about mentoring others through this and what we call the human to human AI powered process. So I'm going to tell you some stories along the way. One about a mum, a stay-at-home mum who was previously deathly afraid of technology, who actually beat her CEO through black belt training, a fractional CFO who used to give up 20 hours a month on the weekend to do month-end financial reporting, who now gets it done with the help of AI and her tools that she's written in 2 hours during the week, and an overworked manager who hires for a high turnover position using up to 300 applications that she would have to sift through manually, able to actually spend more time with her family. So again, this is as much about psychology as it is about technology and making people's lives better, not from removing people from the workforce. So let's get into the AI Foundations preview. I'm going to give you a quick overview of each one of the belts. We work through a belt system, and we're going to get you ready for the rest of the session today. So if you want to fire up your own GPT and follow along as we are going through, that would be great. I will pop into the chat the scripts and the prompts as we're going through. You can also use Microsoft Copilot as well. Okay, so here is our white belt. It is all about getting comfortable with the base model tools and the modalities as we're going through. We're going to show you all of the different input and output combinations that you can use with these tools. In our yellow belt, we're going to start to use AI to become more productive, specifically in our role. And if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, this applies equally to you, a startup, big firm. It is the same. And we will help walk you through your roles and responsibilities and how you can use AI more productively in your role. And then we'll be talking about the orange belt, which is about using AI as your cognitive super assistant and basically having the world's top experts in every area of your business in your pocket for 24/7 on demand. Green belt is all about building the AI tools to solve your specific biggest problems. The biggest insight that we found here is it's almost always faster to build the tool than it is to do the work manually once. We are going to show every organization in your, every employee in your organization how to build their own role coach specifically for them. In the blue belt, we're going to be talking about building tools that create 100x improvements in actual work processes and give you a step-by-step process to work through in order to accomplish that. The purple belt is all about exploring the future, particularly the future of your role and how you can provide even more value in the future with AI in your organization. And finally, the brown belt we are going to be working through. This is the hardest level, and it was just so fulfilling to be able to get through this level. We are going to start to work with those AI agents similar to the tool that I just showed you before, teaching you how to build those types of tools where 1,000 times improvements are routinely created at this level. And you'll recognize that there are many hours of work compressed down into a couple of minutes, especially in that tool that we just showed you. And lastly, our black belt, which is all about mentoring others through the process, that human to human AI powered process. So before we hop into showing you specifically through some of the work in these trainings, the thing is that we can't compress the entire training of the whole belt sessions into one session. Each one of these sessions is structured in the following way. We'll give you a quick preview of the program. We'll actually then take you through training for that particular belt, and then we'll give you some homework to do. We then show you how to get certified. So part of this training process is actually getting certified in these belts to make progress before you can get onto that next level. So what we measure in the certification process is the ability to do the things with AI, not just about knowing how to do those things. And then finally, because these sessions are all facilitated, we have a Q&A session at the end, as I'll be the one delivering the training to have you ask any questions throughout the training. We'll see if we get time to do that today in this session. So let's hop right into our white belt training and show you some of the stuff inside of this white belt. So it's all about getting comfortable with the base level reviews. We don't have much of the program to review at this stage, so we will just hop right into the training itself. So the first thing, create a GPT or other base level account. It might be Microsoft Copilot. I'm pretty sure most people have already got that ready and fired up, ready to go. Our next step is to have the app installed on your phone. So the apps are absolutely getting infinitely better using mobile technology. And there are things that you can do on the mobile version that you can't do on the desktop version. So that is absolutely one reason to have it installed on your phone. Okay, so we're going to dive into some actual work now. And the first input-output modality is from text to text. This is the one that most people are familiar with, and it's the one that most people actually get started with, and it's an incredibly powerful modality. So one of the first things I'm going to have you do is go ahead. I will post this into the chat. So I am going to, this is what we call a meta prompt. I'll pop it into the chat. So you can play along with me as well. So this first prompt is what we call a meta level prompt. And if you only take one thing away from me and from this session, is that anytime you're struggling with anything, not just at work, but anything, go to ChatGPT or Copilot, enter this prompt and explore all the ways that AI can actually help you solve this particular problem. So I'm going to use this one here, and we're going to go into ChatGPT. I'm going to use I am trying to get people to sign up to my webinar. So I'm going to flip over into here, and I'm going to enter that here. Ask it to show me all of the ways that it can help me. So it's going to start hammering out a bunch of ways it can help drive traffic to our webinar. From email marketing campaigns, social media marketing, content marketing, SEO. So if you're in marketing or you've seen this before, seen any kind of marketing for webinars, you will know that these are pretty much right on the money. And it is going to, let's just say I want to dive into follow-up reminders. We are going to look at, I want to learn more about some joint ventures. So another key tip, if you want to go deeper on an area, rather than just entering a response in the base level in the chat box, if you highlight what you want to specifically refer to, these exclamation marks will come up, and just click reply there. And I'm just going to ask it to go deeper on this one. And we will see what it absolutely tells us to do. And this is where we can actually go into developing an SOP straight about that particular identity. So there we go. We're identifying partners, developing a compelling value proposition, and it can go deeper and deeper and give you scripts on how to do that, and emails as well. Let's see where it ends up. It's continuing to go and deliver on that through here. All right. It's given, and it's even got an example scenario with a website theme, a formal agreement. And what we're finding is that they're getting so fast that these kind of prompts are actually even giving us more work back than we've even asked for. So that is something that has been certainly prevalent in the last iteration of 4.0 in the new release. They're getting better and better all the time, and it's going to continue to do more work for us as time goes on. So just flipping back to the presentation. So the use cases for text-to-text output, you could use it for strategic decision support, crisis management advice. One that I use it a lot for is leadership coaching. We have a platform that has let me just see if I can get that up. Our platform, we have a whole bunch, we have hundreds of expert advisors and power skills coach that are all purpose-built GPTs that we can take our clients through, that they can also access on a platform in the privacy of their own computer 24 hours a day, and leaders inside a business can use these kind of tools in people's development plans to not just say, hey, go read a book, which doesn't play anything back, but these expert advisors might be, someone is struggling to give feedback or hold people accountable. We might want to use the book work of Kim Scott and Radical Candor to actually help guide and coach and mentor, create a playbook, so you like, of things to help really bring people's development plans to life, to help build muscle memory and strength in their learning and development objectives, and really see some results. Performance analysis as well as regulatory compliance. Okay, so back to our presentation. We are going to move on to the next belt, or the next modality, which is input of text and output to an image. So the potential use cases for this: branding concepts, infographic creation, which, by the way, is getting better and better, visualization creation, flow charts, marketing material, and the like. So what I am going to do here, again, I will pop this into the chat for you so you can play along. So I help so-and-so do so-and-so, and I am writing a book called blah, create a book cover for me. So I am going to now flip over to GPT again, and we are going to pull in that prompt that I had before, and I'm going to ask it to do a book cover for me. This might take a little while. As it's doing that, I'm just going to share one that I did a little bit earlier. These can, if they use text, have spelling mistakes in them. But again, they are getting better and better. Okay, that is not the image yet. It is giving me some feedback and giving me some options. Fantastic. Great. Now I want it to actually create the image. Oh, it's even given me code for it. No, that's just the example. Great. Okay, create the image, please. While it is doing that, I am just going to share one that I did earlier today for the same topic. The first time I did it, it gave me a perfectly spelled context. A image. There we go. There, the $1 Million AI Consultant. It even added my name, and I didn't give it. It was exactly the same prompt. This is also the difference. ChatGPT, it's a generative conversational input output. You can see I used the same prompt, and it gave me a different output. It gave me a word output when I actually asked it to give me a image output in the one that we just did. Okay, so well, that's interesting. It's not behaving today. So I actually might just take a new chat and get it to do it again. All right, so I'm going to start again. That's the other thing I find, is that when you have a chat I added it into the other AI agency chat, and you can see that it got confused and started to produce text. I have started a brand new chat here. So that is another tip if it's not delivering a output that you're looking for. So while that is, there we go. So you can see here, this is an example of like, man, just a waste of time. But what I have found is the first time I am running things more recently, it is getting better and better at these, and it will continue to over time. I do use this quite a bit for thumbnails for YouTube videos, as well as thumbnails for digital products I'm loading into things like Stripe. As well as my blog posts for images for blog posts and my LinkedIn posts. Okay, so moving right along, we've already done that. The next one we are moving on to is from text to code. So potential use cases here, especially if you're in development, from custom software tools, automation, business logic, data extraction scripts. Again, this is an area that's getting better and better. I know that the purists and the tech coders out there, you know, they don't think the quality of the code is as good as they can write it themselves. However, for a non-tech person, I do find this incredibly useful. So I am going to go back to that script and give it, I will pop this again into the chat for you, but I'm going to ask it to take that book cover. Let's pop that in there. I'm going to go back to my GPT and pop it in there as well. And here we go. So we want to create a website for that book. And I've asked it to create the HTML and CSS file there. So one of the things that I did text to code the other day, I was uploading a YouTube video and it was spread across the first fold. It was just way too big. It didn't fit on the one screen, and I wanted it to be able to optimize for mobile and desktop so that the embedded YouTube video was seen on the first fold complete. I needed to be responsive. Now, I am not a developer, and I took the embed code from YouTube and I popped it into ChatGPT and I said, hey, can you actually please make this responsive text? And it outputted the code, which I simply copied and pasted and popped into my website. And immediately, so within a minute, I had a fixed URL embedded video on my website. I didn't have to Google it. I didn't have to watch how to do these videos, which I would normally do. So it was absolutely perfect for what I needed it to do. So there we go. We have even a JavaScript code as well. Which I haven't seen it actually do. So again, these are getting better and better as time goes by as well. Okay, so we have built our website. So now we want to go from text to file. So here for different use cases for text to file. You can use this input-output combination, generating reports, financial planning documents, creating custom templates, policy documents, exporting data, all kinds of things. So what I'm going to ask it to do is turn that file that we just created, the web file, and we are going to ask it to put it into a downloadable file for me. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do that. When I have, when we play with, you know, can you export this to Word or Excel? Because ChatGPT is not Microsoft, it doesn't like it. So I find that asking it to turn that code into a downloadable file will deliver it to me in a file format that I can download, and it will generally be a Word or a PowerPoint or an Excel file or a table, but you can just copy and paste. So you can copy the code here if it is code, or you can actually simply copy, just highlight over what you're wanting to copy and paste it into a document as well. That is still analyzing there. So I will just give it a couple more seconds. there we go. We've got a downloadable zip file, and we can go and just download it, and it will save to wherever downloads on your computer get saved. All right, back over to our presentation. We are now going to try a good combination. One of my favorites is voice to text. So this is where we are going to utilize the app on your phone. So open ChatGPT, and what you'll see at the very bottom is a set of headphones. So we're going to use that to talk to GPT, and they are synced. So whatever you've done on your desktop will be in your menu on here. So I'm going to scroll and find the chat that we were just in about the book cover. The other potential use cases before I flip over to that, heaps. You could dictate emails or documents when you're out for a walk or a run, record feedback that you're getting in real time to output to a document, and have the document formatted in a very logical way. Think about, if you're wanting to record minutes of a meeting. One of the things about AI is that you don't need to be getting, have it absolutely done perfectly. You don't have to give it super clear instructions. It will understand, even if you're tripping over your own words while you're dictating it. So I used this to create a formal letter to the government in support of my wife and, my husband and his wife and their visa case. I had forgotten, and I was under a bit of pressure. Had completely slipped my mind to get this done before I went on holiday for a long weekend with my daughter. I grabbed my phone while I was driving and spoke to GPT and said, hey, can you create a formal letter to the Australian Embassy? I was all over the place and went backwards and forwards, and it ended up delivering back verbally a very formal letter, found the embassy address, structured it in a very logical way, and formally signed it off. I went backwards and forwards with it once, maybe twice, with some minor edits, and then it outputted it into the chat. I was able to copy and paste it straight from there into a document, sign it, and send it off. So amazing, saved me time. So right now, we are now going to ask it this question. That's great. Can you please give me 3 more things to consider doing for the launch of this book? Thank you. It's a little slow. I'm going to do that again. That's great. Can you give me 3 more things to consider doing for the launch of this book? Oh, I've just realized that I've actually got it connected to my earbuds. Let me just disconnect that from my Bluetooth.
Or joint webinars. This collaboration can significantly extend your book's visibility and credibility. 2, offer limited time promotions. Create limited time offers such as discounted prices, bonus content, or exclusive access to a webinar or workshop. These promotions can incentivize early purchases.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to flip over and show you.
I'm glad you found the suggestions helpful.
Thanks. I'm going to flip back over, and I'm going to show you that if I refresh that chat, that we should find those suggestions in here. So there we go. Oh, where is it? Just give it a sec. And it should actually, so you can see here. Right, so we have not that one. We want to go back in here. it hasn't synced yet, but what it has got in here is collaborate with the influencers partners, offer limited time promotions, track and measure your success, with specifically how to do that underneath. It will come back and sync in here. So the input and outputs will actually be on both devices. It hasn't done that yet, so it is a little slow this afternoon. Okay, heading on back to our presentation, we're going to move on to image to text as our next modality. So this is one of the cases that I find most interesting, especially if I'm trying to analyze documents, doing things like competitive analysis on different websites and so on. So you can use this for visual data analysis, analyzing charts or graphs, brand compliance checks. So a quick way to use this is taking a snapshot of something that's come from your marketing team or marketing agency to make sure it is brand compliant, and getting product feedback on designs that you might have created. You can ask for tailored feedback, and also competitor product analysis as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy the next slide on the screen, and I'm going to get it to explain this slide. So this slide is the one that we will come back to a little bit later on in the presentation. It is our Agile AI canvas. So I am just going to take a screenshot of this. And then I'm going to pop it over into the GPT. I'm going to start a new chat because it's a completely different topic. And I'm going to say, explain this image to me, and just paste that in there. It's going to upload, and it will get started explaining that slide. So we're going to find out here that it actually does a pretty good job. I have given it, again, no context of understanding what is in the image and describing exactly what's going on, particularly within that image. So it's broken it down into sections and a flow, as well as task management. So these are actually the steps that are further down in our blue belt. So it's breaking them down and understanding exactly what is going on in here. So again, really useful. I actually use this when I've created PowerPoint presentation, or I've taken a screenshot of something and I want to have an explanation of it in a deeper level, or I want speaking notes for my presentation. So I will do, hey, give me speaking notes for this slide at a super high level. So again, more ways that we can use it on our day-to-day basis. So we're going to keep going from there. We're going to go from web to text. So lots of different use cases for this: market research summaries, competitive analysis, trend monitoring, customer sentiment analysis. Staying on top of regulatory changes if we were really interested and so inclined. The budget that comes down from the government, 180 pages. The likes of PwC analyze that, used to stay up all night analyzing it and coming out with summaries. You could simply ask ChatGPT to review that and give you a summary output and put it into a blog post and an ebook if you so wanted to, as well. So real time saving device. So what I have used it for before, research the biggest news in the last week in AI and give me a summary. So I am going to flip over and do that now. I actually use perplexity.ai to do this. I just think it is gives me a better research. So perplexity.ai is a little bit like ChatGPT and Google search had a baby. So for things like news, I find it to be a little bit more accurate. It's just not as conversational and generational as ChatGPT. But this is what it has given me from the site. And this is where we can start to combine combinations of things. So we could take the latest news and build a script in to deliver it into a podcast script, for example, or into a newsletter or blog posts. So I always just check, if I am using ChatGPT, that they are the most recent pieces of information that I'm looking for. Again, as I said, I will generally do my initial sourcing from Perplexity and then pop it into GPT to get me the latest information. Okay, back to our presentation. Now we're going from a file to text. Okay, so in this one, you can summarize documents, financial analysis, contract review, data interpretation, interpretation from really complicated spreadsheets, policy update notifications, and so on. So what I am going to get it to do is actually go and summarize an entire book for me and give me a summary of it. So again, just a huge time saver all around. So we'll go back to ChatGPT. I will start a new book, a new chat, summarize this for me, and I am going to upload a book that I have previously downloaded onto my computer. Just give me 1 sec to find it. It wasn't that far up back. There we go. So Jack Canfield's The Success Principles. I am going to, once it has finished uploading, this is the entire book. We are going to get it to read it, analyze it, and it will spit out the summary for me. And what you can actually then do with it is to say, okay, now apply these learnings to this situation that I'm currently being faced with. Okay, so that has summarized chapter 1 and chapter 2. For the sake of this exercise, I'll keep going. For the sake of brevity, we've got a lot still to cover, but it will summarize huge quantities of data and get through them to give you the high level notes. Okay, and the next one, we are almost there. This one is interesting, a voice to voice. Okay, so you can practice presenting speeches, business pitches, receiving immediate verbal feedback from the AI. There was a release from OpenAI that in the last couple of weeks with 4.0 that they mentioned that they are going to significantly be decreasing the what's called latency, which is basically the lag between you saying something and it responding, which you saw me demonstrate before. But as of today, it still hasn't been released, but it will be available pretty soon, making that interaction with voice of super conversational. And so you can really practice, brainstorming and having the AI be part of your brainstorm session as a leadership team, or using voice commands to do tasks actually on your desktop, conducting mock negotiations, or, training your sales or getting your sales managers to instead of role playing getting embarrassed and doing it in front of each other, they could actually role play their sales pitches and closes and get real-time feedback from the AI, especially where you have particular frameworks like the SPIN method and how to close sales. You can ask it to be using that lens to give you specific feedback. So one of the things that you might consider is that whenever you are in the car, you can turn your in-between moments into an on-demand university. One of the things that most people don't know is that these AIs are trained in basically the entire internet. So whatever's on the inside of whatever's on the internet inside of these language models, so you can ask it to give you a summary of your favorite book to get a refresher before you're going into a meeting, and say, hey, give me the top 10 ideas on this. Give me a short explanation of how of each idea and why would it be relevant to me in this. Or Kim Scott's Radical Candor, here's my situation. From her book, give me top 10 ideas on how I can approach this situation. So no matter what you're doing in your role, you've got the entirety of the internet in your pocket to be able to translate and make it specifically relevant to you. And finally, last but not least, is code to text. Tons of use cases again here, from code review, diagnosis, security audits, but what we are going to do is something interesting. We are going to flip over into a web page. This is a website called Read It For Me. And I'm going to go to the source. I've already pulled it up. So to get to the source behind any website, you just hit Control+U and it will give you the website information. So I am going to highlight absolutely every single part of this script. And I am going to paste it into the GPT, and I am going to ask it to analyze the code and give me suggestions for improvement. So you can do this with your own website, but you could also do something like this to a competitor's website. And we'll see what it is now doing. Okay, so it's giving us some SEO enhancements, performance optimization tips, accessibility improvements, and so on. So the next step on this is I'm actually going to ask it to give me a full detailed SEO report on my own website. So if you are just starting a website or you're looking to make some changes to it, again, you can use this to ask it to review your competitors' SEO, give you some insight, and then how do I take that and improve my website as well. A couple of other suggestions for you there too. Okay, so while that is working away, I would ask it next to give me a full detailed SEO site based on that code. I'm going to keep going and skip over that. I'll just, it's still going in here, actually giving me the revised snippet, incorporating those suggestions. So it's already doing that work for me as well. I'm going to skip over this SEO section here. But that's basically it for the white belt. So what productive use cases now can you think of based on, you know, those individual or a combination of those modalities and how it can relate to your day-to-day work and deliverables? I will leave you with that question. So what we then do is flip over into homework in each of our training sessions. The homework would be to complete each of the tasks in a single chat. Going through, it can be in a couple of chats actually, going through all of the tasks that we've gone through, recording the screen with something like Loom as you're doing it, and then we would go through and certify you based on that we actually know that you know how to do it, not just that you've seen a webinar or been to a training session, because I think that's actually more important, especially for your teams. You want to know that they know how to do it, not just that they've been to a training. It's building that muscle memory, and the ability to do all of the things in here means that you probably know more than 99% of people on the planet know how to do what we've just been through today. We would normally then have a Q&A section for the white belt, but I am going to skip over that so I can get through the rest of these belts quite quickly. So the next one, we're going to go through the yellow belt as we go through the rest of these sessions. It's going to be pretty quick, just to give you a high-level overview so that you can see the progression from white belt and what you'll be able to do along the way. So this session, we've got 5 different tasks that we'll go through, and we'll go through a couple of those really quickly. So again, here we're going to take a snapshot of this screen. I'm going to take a snip of this screen here. And I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new chat. And I'm going to paste it in there, and I'm then going to ask it to list out all the ways that I can use ChatGPT here in text form based on this image. So we've already done this in our white belt before. So that's the image to text. Okay, so based on that, so now what we're going to do is get it to list out the various ways that, oh, no, already did that, sorry. We're going to insert your role here and get it to list the 12 responsibilities in your role. So I'm going to say that I am a sales manager in a small manufacturing company. and I'm going to get it to list out those 12 responsibilities. And then what we would do is we would actually get ChatGPT to list out of all of those responsibilities, what are all the way that ChatGPT can actually help me with every single one of these input and output. So it really gives you a sense of where it can start helping you in all of your deliverables in your role. So I am going to flip over now. We are going to keep moving on. I've never seen that sign before. Okay, so we're going to now flip on into orange belt. I don't have time to go through all of that, but basically we will end up with an SOP for each one of those responsibilities, a monthly roadmap, a weekly plan, as well as down to a daily checklist. Now into our orange belt. Into our orange belt, this is about where we start to figure out how to use AI as your cognitive super assistant, and basically have the world's top experts in every area of your business in your pocket 24 hours a day. There are 3 steps to this particular belt: refining a problem, getting that down into a digestible chunk, then understanding who are the experts out there that can help solve the problem, then creating the action plan based on the world's top experts. And the output of this belt is, and we'll give you the actual code being the English version of that code, to create, like having the world's experts in your pocket tell you exactly, hey, here is what you should do in this particular situation. It's like having the world's top experts in your pocket solving all of the problems that you might come up against in your role. Right now, I'm going to flip over to the green belt. And this is where we actually start getting a little bit fancy. We have, this is where folks tell us all the time, there is no way I'm going to be able to build AI tools. And what we know to be true is that every single person that has entered our AI black belt training has ultimately produced AI tools. They become a tool developer in AI. Because there's a lengthy process that we get to work through. And just like every one of these sessions, they are all less than an hour long. So they're pretty quick and crisp, to the point, and you'll get through them, all of them, every single one of these belt levels in less than an hour. There is also a step-by-step process, and it's super methodical on purpose, because once you know the steps to take, you can start to build any of these tools for any problem that you're coming up against. In this case, we're going to have every single person in your organization build their own role coach, so that, again, 24/7, you've got that expert in your pocket helping you solve your role issues. Heading on over to blue belt. Just before we get to that, what comes out the other side of this belt session is the ability to solve real problems by going and building tools as you go. And one of the biggest insights that we hinted at a little bit earlier is that we've always found that it's actually faster to build the tool for the first time than it is to actually do the work and do the task once. So if you're coming up against a task that you're doing repetitively in your role, it is almost a certainty that you, not some fancy software developer, will be able to develop a tool that can help you do that work better, faster, and cheaper. And it will take you less time to build the tool than it does to do the work on its own just once, which is incredibly powerful. And this is where a lot of people really start to gain so much confidence in using AI productively. So right now we're going to move on to our blue belt. Again, we're going to go super fast here to make sure that we cover the gamut of the training that is available. Once you have the ability to start building tools, you're going to start to move into it. Okay, so now how can we build tools that actually produce 100x improvements in our work processes that exist in our business? And it's a very simple 3-step process. First, we go to envision. And this is where we use the AI canvas that we've seen before today. This is really the secret to AI. If you can understand this, you can do everything else. It's a simple 3-step process. Step 1, to envision, which is just laying it out step by step. And here's how I work today. You get a piece of paper out. You don't need a fancy chart like this. But here's what I do. Step 1. Step 2, here's what I do. Step 3, here's what I do, all the way down to the final deliverable. Because that's typically what we're doing in our roles, right? So then we move on to explore. So now we're going to give you all the tools that you need in order to do this productively. Where can AI help in each of these tools? So we've already gone through a little bit of that today. And because you already know all of the input and output combinations, you know how to use AI to help you with the tasks that you've broken down into those bite-sized nuggets. So you're going to be able to take some of those tasks from the top row, being you, down into the swim lane for AI, and even delegate some of them to a less expensive human being. It might be a virtual assistant. We have virtual assistants actually going through our program as well to continue to add significant value. Ultimately, you're going to keep the highest value tasks in the workflow, and ultimately, we are compressing work down that takes a lot less time to actually get done and produces, in most cases, a much better result as well. And then finally, the third step is to exploit it. You go and build the tool. And as we've already shown you, you have step-by-step instructions on how to build those tools and ultimately be able to prove the ROI through. And this is where we're actually able to prove that the ROI, we embed it into the ChatGPT to have a calculation on the other side, similar to the one that we showed you before with the marketing flow. And it is generally a 3,000 times improvement in speed and time and cost. Predictably, we are finding that people going through this program is finding 100 up to 1,000 times improvement in different tasks and deliverables in their roles consistently, which is quite illuminating for people that are going through this. But also from the perspective of it actually takes less time to build the tool than to do the work. Now we can crank this work out and start to focus our energy on higher value tasks and ultimately get more productive work done for the organization and allow more time on strategy and creativity and innovation. So the purple belt, this is kind of where we get to take a little bit of a breather, but start to explore, what does it actually look like, the future of my role? If we're going to be building these 100 times improvements in it, what does the future look like to produce 1,000 times improvements and maybe even 10,000 times improvements? So this is probably the point that you think it might be appropriate to ask, what's the future of my role? Because I'm starting to automate my job that I used to do out of existence. Well, that's true. But the task for you is to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead of this process. And really, this is where most folks in our program have one of those oh crap moments, like, this is amazing. I'm actually creating this future for myself and this value added role in the organization. And again, this is a process that's as good for you as the company as it is for the employee. Brown belts, we are almost getting to the end. Here is that tool that we give you the ability to now not only string together tasks at a role level, but string together what we would call actual roles into a process where multiple people are doing multiple tasks. So the AI, you're actually building an agent that is starting to do the work of entire roles in a workflow. So we'll show you how to kind of zoom out and view a process from the point of view of multiple people touching the work and having the AI do as much of that work as possible. Again, this is what we did in that previous marketing agent, AI agent tool that I showed you. And ultimately, this is a process. It's a 6-step process that we will give you to know how do we get those 1,000 plus times improvements in work. And then finally, we get to our black belt. And this is a reminder that we bring it all the way back to the beginning. It's as much about psychology as it is about technology and mentoring people through the process from indifference all the way down through transformation. We have found that just like there are 5 stages of grief, there are also 5 stages of human to AI-powered human. So we need to go through these and help people go through these stages. The fact of the matter is, if you've gotten to brown belt and completed that brown belt stage, you have already made that transformation. So your next step in the journey is to encourage others inside your business and outside your business to start taking the journey as well, to really help create a culture of AI-powered growth inside your organization. Just like the stay-at-home mom who is now creating AI tools, and when a client rings, she is bringing the problem and the solution to the CEO. She's become an incredibly valuable member of his team. And the fractional CFO, who is now getting 18 hours of her life back with automation to the financial reporting. And the overworked manager, who was having to screen through 300 plus resumes. She created a rubrics to see who even complies with our base level requirements for the role before she steps into an interview process. So after this, the foundation is now set, and we have gone through our entire black belt training the job and you will then make a decision whether you think that everybody in the journey should move to that next set. The foundation is set. They're AI-powered humans, and we get to look for, once this is done, our work is changing. That's where we really need to start to think about, what does it take to lead and manage in this AI-powered world? And then ultimately, what does it look like to lead the strategy and execution of an organization that is also AI powered? So what's next? I would love to offer to have you bring me to your company to do this workshop for your leadership team. It will probably extend more than an hour. We will have a Q&A session so that people really understand what to do as they go through it. So we'd love to do that for free. If you book, on the screen is a QR code that will take you through to book some time into my calendar. Or if you've got other questions on the program and the training and AI in general, I'm more than happy for you to reach out and give me a call, make a booking. But bookings made in the next week will be free. So we'd encourage you to jump on and have a look at that. We don't have time for questions at this stage, so I am going to wrap things up. Encourage you again to reach out. Would love to hear from you and would love any feedback on today's presentation. So I am going to stop sharing. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.